Welcome back, everyone. Next up, we have Sokoman Minerals Corp. It trades on the OTCQB under the symbol SICNF and on the TSXV under the symbol SIC. It's a discovery-oriented gold exploration company with projects in Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. The company's primary focus is its portfolio of gold projects, flagship Moosehead along the central Newfoundland gold belt. The company is also active on the district-scale FLIR project in northwestern Newfoundland, which is targeting Dalradian-type orogenic gold mineralization similar to the Corriganalt and Cavanagh deposits in Northern Ireland and Coonunish in Scotland. Please welcome Tim Froude, CEO, President, and Director. Tim, you can pronounce all that much better than I, so the floor is yours.
Thank you. You did a wonderful job. Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be back again for a repeat visit on this program. So, yeah, it's I wish everybody in the sector all the best moving forward. It's tough times. Obviously, the markets haven't been friendly, even when we have good news to put out. So. Just hang in there, be patient. I do believe the end is near for the bad times, and I'm looking forward to a great fall. But again, back to Sokoman. We're primarily a gold-focused exploration company. We do have lithium on our agenda right now, and simply based on a boot and hammer discovery on one of our gold projects, we happen to trip up over a nice suite of lithium-bearing dikes that I'll get into on the Golden Hope property. We're looking to move that outside of the current entity, the current joint venture with Benton, so we can continue to focus on our gold property. So I'll start with our flagship property, the Moosehead Gold Project. It's one that's been with us for several years. It's in central Newfoundland, and again, a lot of attention here in recent years, thanks to excellent work done by Marathon Gold at the Valentine Lake Gold Deposit, and obviously the big boy in the room, Newfound Gold, with their Queensway project, where they've just been putting out just release after release of fantastic results. So let's see here. Yeah, so the highlights at Moosehead are, we acquired the project in late 2018 from Lithium Minerals Corp. We've now been active there for about 4 years, just over 4 years, and drilled, we've just completed, or about to complete, our most recent 100,000 meter phase of diamond drilling. And to date have completed about 550 holes, covering an area roughly 500 meters in strike length is where most of the work has been focused. We have put some holes in elsewhere on the property, but by and large, the lion's share of the work has been focused on our 5 main zones that we've intersected since work began in 2018. The target is a very high grade type of system. Some of you may be familiar with the Fosterville gold deposit in Australia, a very, very high grade deposit, one of the world's highest grade gold mines, in fact, up until recently. The geological setting, the style and type of mineralization, the veining, all point, and I have been to Fosterville, so I do speak from experience when I mention Fosterville, in spite of the fact that it is probably not a bad thing to hook your wagon to. But no, undoubtedly, we have definitely a lot of the similarities and a lot of the boxes checked if you're looking for a high-grade gold deposit. And when I say high-grade, this is just a list of our top 25 holes. As you can see, there's numerous holes above the 100 gram meter mark, which is certainly a very strong measure of a high grade system, and this system is still open, and it's not just one area that's giving us these really, really high grade gold values. All 5 zones have delivered significant hits, which does, of course, support our view. That this system is indeed a very, very high grade system. We'll probably complete the 100,000 meter program sometime around Christmas, but we're not going to stop there. Obviously, we're not finished. There's a lot more work to do. So we're going to continue on into 2024. working diligently away at expanding the known zones, as well as hopefully finding a couple new things that you might hear about pretty soon. Moving on to our Golden Hope joint venture with Benton. It's again, it started life as a gold property. It still does have considerable merit as a gold property, but in the course of prospecting the property for for gold, we encountered a swarm of very nicely mineralized lithium-rich pegmatite dikes that we've subsequently drilled a number of holes on. In fact, we've completed about 10,000 meters. Still very, very early days. We still don't know, in fact, if we're even in the best or strongest part of the system, which is quite exciting. We continue to expand the footprint of the dikes almost on a daily basis with new soil geochemistry anomalies coming to light. And most of these have not been prospected. Certainly a lot of them have not been drill tested yet. And again, it's a situation where infrastructure, is key to these. And this is an industrial mineral, so you need to be close to infrastructure. And certainly, the project being close to a highway, just 12 kilometers, a high voltage power station, as well as probably the most important one, the North Atlantic Ocean, is only about 35 kilometers away. So again, a lot of positive attributes. We're looking to joint venture this property with a serious partner, a big player, and we hope to have news on that vein, if you will, quite soon. We're not drilling at the moment, but we are kind of retooling, and we do intend to recharge the treasury in the very near future to to facilitate more work. We have a camp on site. There's currently a crew in there completing additional geochem and just prospecting, boot and hammer work sort of thing. But again, I stress, very early days, could be a very, very significant lithium system in an excellent jurisdiction and with excellent attributes. Just to look at some of our better holes, again, we're getting lengths up to 20, 21 meters, 15 to 20 meters in length, with grades, most of them exceeding 1%. So again, we're in the ballpark of what could be considered to be extremely significant. And last, I'll talk about our FLIR project. It's another very large property we have. We were fortunate enough to be able to stake almost 480 kilometers worth of very prospective ground in northeastern Newfoundland. The target type is Dalradian type gold. Some of you may know the Dalradian from Northern Ireland, the Kernalt deposit. Currently not developed, but currently sits as the largest undeveloped gold prospect in the entire Appalachian Caledonite mountain belt. The Appalachians are what we call the mountains in eastern North America. The Caledonites are what's referred to the same mountain chain extended over into the UK. So Fleur-de-Lis has basically all of the geological similarities that you would like to have in terms of the same type of rocks, host rocks, the same metamorphic grade, but more importantly as well, indications of gold. This part of the province has not seen a lot of active exploration, even though it sits very close to where most of the most recent gold mining activity has taken place in Newfoundland. So it's kind of surprising, but the rocks are different than what most people are used to looking for and prospecting for here in Newfoundland. And a recent trip to Ireland, in fact, myself and two of our employees traveled to Northern Ireland to actually visit the Kernalt area to see what it was all about, what we need to look for and things like that. And we were very pleased to see, many of the similarities at Kernalt we can directly apply to our Fleur-de-Lis property. Just yesterday, we put out news on an exciting new discovery on the property. There's a picture here of the Golden Bull prospect, very nicely mineralized and laminated quartz with a rare speck of visible gold. But I think the main prize here is the larger aspect of the property, in that we have a 30-kilometer long till anomaly. And this cluster of float that we found some of the quartz blocks are up to probably 3 tons in dimension. They're very angular, not travel very far. Suggests that our geochem anomaly of 30 kilometers in length may actually have multiple point sources in it, which is very promising and holds potential for multiple deposits. Again, grades up to 9 grams from this new area are certainly good. We think there could be better. And to help us along, we'd like to be drilling here within the next 6 to 12 months. I think we will be. But ahead of that, the area, just as a note, will be logged quite extensively by a pulp and paper company, which could allow us, better access, even add to our discovery list once they start obviously building roads to access the timber resource. So we're going to wait patiently for that work to happen, obviously, save us time and money, and hopefully some effort and turn up, obviously, some further discoveries, such as the Golden Bull. So in a nutshell, that's, and here you see some of the grades, up to 9 grams, but again, with a considerable amount of gold in the plus 150 mesh fraction in the yellow column on the left, suggesting that visible gold is prevalent. I wouldn't say it's something that we're obviously dependent upon, but it could mean that locally grades could be obviously much higher, which is important. So obviously, if you're looking to promote a property, grade is king, as they say. So a quick look at our board. Again, we are a discovery-focused team, so we focus on exploration and discovery. So our board is heavily weighted towards the sciences. And our share structure, as of just last week, shares issued and outstanding 229, a current market cap of about $16 million, which I feel is extremely undervalued. We have a 52-week high of 32 cents, which would give us a market cap more in the $50 to $60 million range, which is probably more fitting of a company with the results that we've put out. And just a quick look there, the picture you see is the discovery dike, the Lithium Discovery dike, which we originally thought was a quartz vein when we first saw it from the air in a helicopter, but quickly realized after a few samplings that there's more to this than gold. It's a critical minerals story developing here, and again, something that we hope to obviously be talking a lot more about in the very, very near future. So, in terms of why Sokoman Minerals? I think we've proven ourselves to have a very, very good track record of discovery. We're incredibly undervalued right now. We have delivered, and hopefully will continue to deliver high-grade results. I love our jurisdiction. It's my home base. It's where I grew up, was educated, and obviously enjoying life, exploring my own backyard. We, as a company, are one of the largest landholders in the province, so we're well positioned, with respect to, favorable ground. And I think clearly, we've laid the groundwork for additional discoveries moving forward. So I think it's a story worth following, and that's all I'm going to say for now. I've leave the rest of the time for any questions or any comments, but again, focused in Newfoundland and Labrador, an excellent jurisdiction. We're well financed for the rest of the year and into the first quarter of 2024. So look for more news and hopefully lots of good news. So thank you very much.
Great job, Tim. Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about what project will you be drilling during the next maybe 6 months or so?
Well, obviously, our flagship property will be getting, additional attention. We know we've got a lot more work to do there, in addition to the work we've already done. I can't really comment a lot about recent drilling because a lot of it still requires assays and hasn't actually been press released. But needless to say, we are looking at several new structures that we've identified in recent drilling. Again, no assays yet to say anything. But, we're optimistic that we'll be putting out some positive news on that front very soon. And, of course, the Lithium Project. Right now, we're on a bit of a hiatus, just gathering up all the information. And at the same time, we're kind of working towards a partnership with someone. Hopefully, we'll be spending someone else's money pretty soon, which is always a good thing. Shareholders like to hear that. So yeah, and FLIR a little further down the road with respects to drilling, but certainly in the near term, Moosehead and the Golden Hope lithium story will receive additional diamond drilling.
Well, with your excellent lithium results, has that moved your focus from gold?
No, not at all. In fact, what we've been doing is basically trying to put, I guess, the best story on that discovery to see just what its true value could be. I mean, the last thing we'd want to do is to give it away for less than it's obviously worth. So I think the few $1 million that Benton and Sokoman have invested in this project will come back many fold in terms of a reward to us. And again, to take the burden of raising funds for that project. And as well, I mentioned at the start that we are a gold-focused company. It is my strong point. It is my background. And I would like for Sokoman to continue in that vein, pardon the pun. But, certainly the lithium is a welcome and obviously, a very timely sort of commodity to be chasing in these at these times. A challenge again, the markets are always a challenge, and it's hard to get respect for discovery. But again, as a goal-focused company, I think that we owe it to our shareholders to do the best job we can with Golden Hope and the lithium, get the best bang for our buck there, and then put it into a separate vehicle and move on.
So talk a little bit about your Fleur-de-Lis property. It looks like it's your next big discovery. What are next steps concerning that?
Well, we've been kind of nursing it along kind of quietly for a couple of reasons. One, mainly financial, in that it is a large property, and to evaluate it from corner to corner sort of thing would require several $1 million at the very least. So what we've done is basically take just a gradual, systematic approach, starting with a phase 1, which became phase 2, till sampling program, just to identify favorable areas on the property that would have potential for gold mineralization. So that took place in 2021 and 2022. And in 2023, we started to pick away at some of the targets that we found. And what we ended up with was basically a very large haystack, if you will, of about a 30-kilometer strike length that we've now got to whittle down to something in the range of several hundred meters in terms of, a target or multiple targets, I hope, and basically focus on them. So moving forward, the strategy will be, and I think I mentioned, in the talk, in the little bit of information I did give on it, was that the area should be logged off pretty extensively in the next 6 to 12 months. So that could open up, a whole new bucket of opportunities for us in terms of new roads being built, areas being clear cut, and disturbances being made, and perhaps even, new outcrops or occurrences of gold-bearing, mineralization being exposed without us even lifting a hand. So that saves us time, it saves us money. And I'm pretty confident that based on the knowledge we have in terms of the till geochemistry and the new showing that we announced yesterday, that we'll be looking at some pretty significant targets very, very early in 2024.
Paul Maley asks, the last news release about Moosehead, they mentioned an identification of a deep drill target. So where is this drill target located, and how many deep holes are you guys drilling?
Well, deep holes has always been something that I've been considering, although they do come with considerable risk in that, you're putting a lot of eggs in sort of one basket, and without a thorough knowledge of the structures in the shallow parts of the deposit, you take the risk that you may not understand, or certainly even really not understand, but have a chance on being successful with the deeper drilling. So we just finished, well, not just, but in this past spring, we got results back from a deeper seeking IP survey, which has identified a number of targets. And we've looked at a couple of them now, but in recent drilling, we've had some success in finding additional structures. Again, I mentioned that in the previous few minutes. We don't have any assays yet, but we are seeing things that are very favorable, very positive. I can't say a lot, but because it hasn't been press released, but I'm pretty optimistic that a combination of IP, a little bit of luck, because you do need luck in this business, we'll be better able to define those deeper targets probably later.
Richard,
again, we've only really done justice to probably 30, maybe 40% of the property as a whole. So, and with recent drilling showing us that there are still new structures to find, I think it would be a bit premature to do something with respect to a resource when we don't even really know if we've got it all sort of combined or sort of under control yet. So I think, obviously there's a lot more drilling needs to be done. Hole 463, which we made some news on last Christmas, is still a very high priority target area. In fact, it includes the entire, and for those that are familiar with the project, they'll know what I'm talking about, the entire footwall of the deposit, which is below basically in all of the zones really that we've uncovered to date. So there's a whole vast area, almost the size of the area we've currently drilled, that has potential for new discoveries. And so until I'm satisfied that we've exhausted all of the potential for the project, then I think a resource would be premature.
And Dr. Roger Tornedon, a longtime shareholder, he wants to know your game plan to generate a significant investment success. Might it include a buyout by a larger company, building a mine? What are your thoughts?
Well, all of the above sound very nice. I'd like to find a mine, and of course we all would like to find a mine, and those things are very rare and hard to find, and obviously take many, many years sometimes before you even realize you have one. But I think if we stick to the plan, we're very patient explorers. We'd like to build things from a known, outwards. I think with our portfolio of projects, like I said, we just started really to make some noise on our FLIR project, which will be, I think, the next torchbearer for the company. I think Moosehead still has a lot to give us, and obviously the potential of the lithium to add value in terms of, a separate entity, a larger partner coming in and basically taking control, funding and things like that. I think, we offer very good value right now, even though most of our shareholders are probably holding at much higher prices. I do believe that, it's not just us. We're not the only one in this boat. But I do believe that we have the team and the portfolio of properties in a very, very good mining jurisdiction to reward shareholders at some point. We just need to be patient.
Paradise Raymond asks, if a big company offered you the right price for the Moosehead property, would you sell it to possibly put effort and money into Fleur-de-Lis?
Well, that's a good question, and I guess the operative word there is right price or right words. Yeah, everything is for sale for the right price, I guess. No one wants to be stuck with something at the end of the day that no one wants because, whatever. But I would entertain it. I wouldn't say no to anything, really. We're even hearing rumors of consolidation in the district, maybe a couple of companies, kind of getting together and doing business as a single entity as opposed to one. I'm not suggesting that we've been approached by anyone. But, you do hear things, obviously. We do have our ears to the ground. And but as far as, would Moosehead ever be for sale? Of course it would be.
We have a few questions about the blackout period. What's the reason for it?
Well, without giving too much away, right now we are, and I think we've mentioned it, that we are in discussions with several groups interested in one or more of our assets. So I think, the classic definition of insider trading is insiders buy with knowledge that the general market doesn't have. And do I have knowledge of things right now that the general market doesn't have? Yes, I do. And so for that reason, no insider is permitted to buy or sell shares in Sokoman. It's simple as that.
All right. Thank you for that. Donna Collins says, I understand you have some infrastructure near you, but how much infrastructure like roads, electric, water is going to be required on the properties respectively prior to production?
Well, that's the good thing about Newfoundland. It's interestingly enough, it's called a rock, its nickname is the rock, but there's lots of water around. In fact, all of our properties have ample access to water. They all have road access in terms of paved highways cutting either through them or adjacent to them. Because we're an island, things are obviously very close to the coastline. I mean, Moosehead is only 18 kilometers from a deep water port. Fleur de Lis is less than that, probably 5 kilometers from a deep water port. And even Golden Hope, the lithium project, is only 30 kilometers from the North Atlantic Ocean and 14 kilometers from pavement. So we're very blessed here in Newfoundland with infrastructure. So they all have very, very satisfying infrastructure conditions as we sit right now.
Kathy Hume asks, what would you say is the biggest difference between Newfound Gold's Queensway project and your Moosehead project?
Well, geologically, they're very similar. In fact, it's an interesting question because just last week, the Geological Association of Canada had their annual fall field trip in central Newfoundland with people from all over the country, and indeed probably over the world, visiting our property, Newfound Gold's property, and Labrador Gold's property in central Newfoundland, and as well a presentation by Marathon Gold. So all of the key players, if you will, not to discredit any of the other explorers in the area, but certainly the ones that have had the most success and or are developing resources, all basically chipped in and got together. And so it was really good for me to see what Newfound Gold's property looks like. And geologically, they're very, very similar. In fact, you could take a mineralized intersection from one of Newfound's drill holes and put it in a core box from Moosehead. It would look, it wouldn't look out of place, and vice versa. So they're very similar. Obviously, the order of magnitude in terms of exploration budgets and the number of drills and everything like that has allowed Newfound, obviously to leap, ahead by a long shot, anywhere where we are in our development. But that would be. That's a different sort of topic altogether. But in terms of geology and the mineralization and the rocks and things like that, and infrastructure, they're also, the Trans-Canada Highway runs right through their property as well. We're very, very well matched in that sense.
Kathy also asks, is Eric Sprott still your largest shareholder?
Yes, he is. Mr. Sprott owns, I think it's about 26 point, actually it's on one of the slides, if I can back up. Yes, he still owns, at current levels, 26.3% of our outstanding shares.
And are there any NSRs on your Fleur de Lis project?
95% of the claims were staked by us, 100%. But there were a couple of very small blocks. Like I said, 5% of the property, so 100 claims or less. Were owned by prospectors who had staked the ground prior to us getting involved in the area. They had staked a couple of pieces of ground that they liked. So there are NSRs with respect to those, but they're all buybackable, if you will. So if should that need arise, we do have access to them, but the bulk of the property does not have an NSR on it.
Eric Koish wants to know if you're doing any deep drilling at Moosehead, especially around hole 463.
Again, as I explained a bit earlier, deep holes come with a risk, and as long as there's still a lot of information to be gained, and including new intersections, new zones, very, very close to surface, I'm more willing to follow that sort of path for now. It is in the plan to drill deeper holes, but only when we fully understand the structure. I mean, 463, which is hole 463, in our total holes, was a groundbreaking hole in that it told us, hey, maybe you're not thinking about this in exactly the right fashion. So you always learn from holes, and you never know when a hole is going to give you that critical piece of information. So, so even that far into a program, you can still have your theory turned on its side in terms of what you think the zone is doing and where it's going. So I'd be a little nervous drilling, an 800 or 900 meter hole right now. In a year's time, maybe a little more comfortable, but yeah, so that's it.
Well, great presentation, Tim. Thank you so much for coming back on the conference, and we'd love to have you again in the near future with more updates.
Yeah, I'm going to be back with a roar.
Okay, good. Well, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you so much, dear.
Okay, we'll be right back.